Hello, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 281. I'm Lisa, also known as Fiber Nymph on the internet and across social media, which is on the internet. Yes, I'm in charge of obvious things today. Every once in a while, not when I'm bored, but when I don't know what to listen to on my phone, I'll turn my Google Assistant on, which you say, if I say it now, she'll come on, and I don't want her to do it. But anyway, on Android, it's not like you have Siri or anything. It's called Google, like your assistant is Google. So I'll activate her, and I'll say, tell me a joke, and then she'll tell me jokes. Which is so pathetic, but it's really actually kind of fun. And so I did that last week one day, and one of the jokes she told me is, what do you call someone who states the obvious? And the answer was, someone who states the obvious. And honestly, I cracked up because I thought that was super funny. Way to go, Google. Thank you for entertaining me. Anyway, hi. Oh my gosh. I should start this over, but I'm not going to. I don't even remember where I left off. I'm going to put my screen in right here so that you can see me, where you can see me on social media and contact me. There you go. Alrighty, let's keep this rolling because this is starting off a little rough. I'm really hyper today and I don't know why. I have not had any more coffee than usual, so I'm not sure what is to blame for my overexcitement and exuberance today. Hopefully it will not be too annoying to you or me. Because honestly, I have been talking to myself for an hour now. I do this every time I get ready to record an episode. Like, I go into show mode before I've even remotely hit the button because I'm like doing my makeup or my hair or whatever. But I go into show mode and I'm constantly talking. It's like I'm rehearsing what I'm going to say to you or something. I don't know. If you're a podcaster, do you do that too? I just find myself randomly talking to myself. Not even right before the podcast, like all the time. I'm home alone a lot, and so I do talk to myself a lot, but I go into show mode. So who knows what's going to come out, because I'll probably think I already told you things that I only really told to myself or the cats. So anyway, hi. I hope you're having a good week. I don't think I said what day it is. It's Thursday, May 17th. It's sort of rainy here today. I was thinking I would record outside because I haven't gotten to do that yet this year. But then I realized, oh, it's sort of sprinkling and that would not be good. It would be kind of funny though for me to be sitting there like holding an umbrella while I'm recording outside. That would be horrible for the lighting. Didn't want to do that. But anyway, yeah, everything is sort of damp out on the deck. I don't think it's actively raining now, but everything's moist. It's easier to just stay in here where it's dry. So, and watch the birds. We have a bird feeder out on the deck, which I think I've shown pictures of. We've got bird feeders over here, although I'm noticing that the ones over here in the trees are quickly being engulfed by all of the new leaves on the trees. I'm going to probably have to rearrange them a little bit and refill them because they're totally empty. But the one out here on our deck, we can see from our kitchen window, which is really nice because then you can, watch the birds while you're doing stuff. There was a bird out there the other day that I have never, ever seen before. It was this really pretty, like almost a peacocky turquoisey blue bird. It was small and it had some black, and I'm like, that's not a bluebird. Like an eastern bluebird is a lighter blue and it's got white on its belly. That's not a bluebird, because I've seen those. I'm like, I don't know what this is. So I called my husband, who was getting ready to take a shower. He's like, what? I'm like, look at this bird. And he's like, oh yeah, that's a bluebird. I'm like, no, that's not a bluebird. And he said, okay, well, we'll have to look it up. So while he was taking his shower, I looked it up. It was an indigo bunting. I've never, ever seen an indigo bunting before in person. I knew they existed, but that was so cool. And it's been back one other time. It keeps flying over to the trees over there, so I'm assuming he maybe has a nest, or she. So that was just so neat. I love it whenever we have new birds, because I mean, we get a lot of birds, a lot of different, but they're usually the same group of birds. So that was just a really, really fun little surprise out at my bird feeder. And every time I've seen him, well, it's only been twice, but like my phone was nowhere around to take a picture. So hopefully I'll be able to get a picture of him or some video of him at some point and I can show you. Because if you've never seen one, they're super pretty. Oh my gosh. I would say he would inspire a new colorway, but I think I've already got colorways that have those colors in them. So unless I renamed an old colorway, there will not be an indigo bunting colorway. Okay, so what did I want to start with? Oh, you know what? This is actually a little bit of shop news first, but I want to make sure that you know about it in case you're interested, because it's also of interest to knitters in general. Festivals. I'm going to be vending this coming weekend, May 19th and 20th, at the Waynesburg Sheep Fiber Festival, which takes place at the Greene County Fairgrounds here in southwestern PA. So if you are anywhere in that area and would like to stop by, I'd love to see you. It's a lovely show. I've attended it several times, although I haven't in recent years. The last time I was there was actually the only time I ever vended it, which was like in 2013. But it's such a fun little show. And they've got the sheep, obviously. I can't remember what other activities go on. I'm sure there are several. And you can check the website. I'll be sure to link it in the show notes and in the drop-down information menu on YouTube. But yeah, so I'll be there this weekend. That's both days, Saturday and Sunday, from 10 to 5. And then 2 weeks after that, I will be vending at the Frederick Fiber Fest, which is in Frederick, Maryland, the Frederick Fairgrounds, I believe. And that is also Saturday and Sunday, June 2nd and 3rd. I think the hours are different. I think there's like 10 to 6 Saturday, 10 to 5 Sunday. Again, I will put all that pertinent information in the show notes and in the drop down and the links. So that one, though, I've never actually even been to that festival before, but this year they're apparently doing it differently, and they're a part of the larger Mother Earth News Festival that's also, or fair, that's happening that same weekend at those fairgrounds. So the Mother Earth News people are like kind of down in this corner of the fairgrounds, and then the Fiber Festival is up catty corner. I mean, it's the same fairground, so you can obviously go to both. But that'll be kind of cool. You can get like 2 festivals for one if you are so inclined. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Anyway, those are upcoming events where I will be, and they're just upcoming events that I thought you might like to know about as knitters and crafters. If you're in those areas, you can go and check out the goodies. And if you're there, please stop by and say hello to me in my booth. I would love to see you. Okay, now we're going to get on with the knitting, because there's lots. I was surprised. I was doing my show notes this morning. I'm going to sit my coffee down so I quit drinking it. I was doing my show notes this morning and I realized it's been 10 days since I recorded. It doesn't feel like that long. It feels like I recorded like 2 days ago. But apparently I have no concept of time anymore because life is crazy. You're probably tired of hearing me say that. Oh my goodness. You have to turn back on my show notes. Okay, so I have 2 finished objects to show you. This one you've seen in progress, but the last time you only saw the first sock and it didn't have a heel, but now there's 2 socks. So this was my first one. This is my 7th year stitch colorway that I did for my 7th anniversary of my business this year. And I think when you saw it last time, it was just a tube and I was ready to do the toe. And so I did the toe. All of these got sent out with a complementary contrast or coordinating color of yarn. So I chose to use the rhodochrosite colorway, which is that stripe, obviously, for my toe. And then I thought I would use it for the heel as well. However, I didn't because I'm the dyer and I had leftover skeins of minis. So I chose to do my heel in the Merlot colorway, which obviously it does not super match. And you may have noticed that if you ordered this, that your mini probably did not match your stripe quite as accurately. This is like really off. That's probably why I didn't mail this one out. Smaller quantities of yarn dye up differently than larger quantities. And it, I can try to adjust the dye amount and everything, but it's not an exact science. So they're usually a little off, but it is the same color. So anyway, I decided to do my heel a different color. So my cuff stripe that I started up here was the rhodochrosite, so the toe is as well, and the heel is a different color. And then I did the second sock. I banged out the second sock, and I did the toe in the rhodochrosite, or in the Merlot, because I started with Merlot. It might sound like I started with Merlot today too, but I did not. Just coffee. Anyway, and then I used the rhodochrosite as the heel. And I just love it. They are not matchy because I did not strive to match up the colorways. Matter of fact, I was kind of enjoying the fact that I started at different places in the skeins. And I just like how they're matchy but not matchy, and yeah, they're cool. It's just a plain vanilla sock, over 64 stitches, US ones. I did 2x2 ribbing. I've been on a 2x2 ribbing kick lately with my socks, which is so odd because usually I do 1x1. But yeah, 2x2 has been my jam lately. Last year when I did my anniversary color socks, I ended up gifting that pair to my mom. So this pair is staying with me because I really, really, really love this colorway. I mean, I loved last year's colorway too, but I love how these turned out. So these are going to be mine because, you know, I don't have enough socks. But anyway, so that is my first finished object. My second one, you did not see at all, but I did allude to it last time I recorded because I said I was going to cast on a hat that I could use for movie knitting, which ironically I did not end up using for movie knitting. Matter of fact, I cast on 2 different hats. I used neither of them for movie knitting, and I ended up taking my second 7th year stitch sock, which I was knitting those on high sharps, which is bad because it splits the yarn. Especially in the dark. Not so much when I can see what I'm doing, but in the dark, I have a tendency to split my yarn if I'm using the high sharps. And I maybe got an inch into my knitting during the movie. I think I was probably still in the previews, and I knew I had messed up, and I tried to rectify it by like holding it up to the light of the screen and fixing it. I gave up. I actually ended up watching the entire movie, which my son and I went to see Infinity Wars. Oh my gosh. That was a long movie, and for me to sit through a movie that long and have nothing going on in my hands, that was strange. Very intense movie though, oh my gosh. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, I did cast on the hat, and this is the hat. Isn't it cute? I love it. And the reason I chose not to take this was because this is a singles yarn. This is Katia Azteca. This is some deep, deep stash. I had 1 ball left over from a sweater that I knit for my ex-mother-in-law, back before she was my ex-mother-in-law. I knit it many years ago, and I had 1 ball left over. It's just been floating around the stash, and I thought it would make a lovely hat because, do I have the tag? I do. So Katia Azteca. Sorry. This is 50% wool and 50% acrylic. Now, it does not specify that it's superwash wool, but I'm fairly certain this is a washable yarn. Yeah, I mean, the directions say you can machine wash it. So, I'm watching Tippy. She's out under the bird feeders, stalking something probably. Anyway, okay, so this will make a good charity hat if I decide to gift, or gift hat. I haven't decided. It'll go in my gift/charity bin of stuff. But I decided to do a pom-pom to use up a little bit more of the yarn. And this is really nothing exciting either. I believe I cast on 80 stitches. Again, 2x2 rib, because that seems to be what I'm into. And I actually usually do 2x2 rib on hats. And then when I got up to the stockinette section, I increased by 10 stitches, so I knit the rest of it on 90 stitches, so that it would be a little fuller and a little slouchier. I would try this on, but my hair is already malfunctioning today, and it's humid, and I haven't had a haircut in 3 months. I really need to find somebody to cut my hair up here. I would rather like have to find a new gynecologist than have to find a new hairstylist, honestly. I said that to my husband. He's like, it's just your hair. I'm like, it's my hair. Like, you have to understand. Anyway, the hat. So yeah, I finished the hat, put a cute little pom-pom on it. Actually, it's a big pom-pom. It's not the most even pom-pom in the world, but it's cool. And then, because I still had yarn left, I made a bonus pom-pom. And you know, I've decided that when I have leftover worsted, when I'm done with hats or whatever, I'm going to just make bonus pom-poms, even if I'm not putting a pom-pom on the item. And I'll just have a big collection of pom-poms that I can someday do something with. It seems like an idea. I don't know if it's a good one or not, but right now I have a bonus pom-pom. Maybe I'll make a big pom-pom garland or something sometime. But then this was all the yarn that I had left over from the ball. It's only actually no, it is 100 grams skein, I think. What did I do with the tag? I just had it here. I don't know where the tag went now. Okay. We don't care. It was 100 oh my gosh. Now we're being attacked by crows. I'm so sorry for all of the bird stuff today. Oh, that's a blue jay. I don't know what they're doing up here, though. They're like right at the edge of the eaves of the porch room. Weird. Oh, here's the tag. I am so sorry. I am all over the place. Yeah, 100 grams. I was thinking it was 50 grams, but no. It's definitely 100 grams. So I did use the majority of it, and it's great because it's stash yarn out of the stash. Deep stash yarn gone. Fun bag by Bags by Danita, I believe. I do have that tag in here, too. Oh, Danita's Sewing Rack. I got this a few years ago. I love her bag. It's so nice. This is a really nice, I love drawstring bags. You've heard me say that before. And this is a nice sized one. So anyway, she's on Etsy, I believe. Yes, Etsy. You can find her on Etsy. Danita's Sewing Rack. Okay, so moving on. Those are my only 2 finished objects. But I'm happy with that. It's been busy. So I do have some whips. Let's see where they are. No, don't fall. Okay. So I showed you this sock, the first sock as a hoe, I think last time. This was my Pool Noodles colorway that I'm doing as an exclusive for the Downseller Studio Splash Pad Party this summer, which, by the way, you can still pre-order this colorway in the shop through the end of the month, through the end of May. So if you would like this brightly colored stripy sock colorway, or whatever you want to make out of it, you can still get it. So it's 4 stripes, and they all have speckles of all the colors in them, which makes them even more fun. Anyway, I had the first sock finished, and I cast the second one on this morning because I had finished those other socks, I believe, yesterday. And so I wanted to have a plain vanilla sock. I do still have that West Yorkshire Spinners Blue Tit sock going, but that's on those Addy Flexi Flips. And I am working on the second sock here and there, but they're not relaxing. I mean, I have the hang of the Flexi Flips, but I take those in the car a lot, like for when Bill's driving, and I'll work on that because I can. Whatever. Anyway, I wanted to cast the second sock on. Like I needed a reason. It's a sock. I wanted to cast it on. It was really funny because remember I said, oh, I'm on this 2x2 ribbon kick. So I looked at this sock real quickly and saw, oh, yep, that's 2. So I assumed, oh, this is 2x2 rib. So I cast 64 stitches on. Gotta turn my show notes back on, sorry. Cast 64 stitches on, was doing my 2x2 rib, got into the, right where I would be starting the stockinette. And I don't know why I looked. Actually, I do know why I looked, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I double checked this. It's not 2x2, it's 2x1. So, which means I used 60 stitches for this sock, and this was on 64. So I momentarily thought, well, I could just decrease 4 stitches, and nobody would be the wiser, because who's going to be looking at the top of my sock cuff? It's going to be under jeans or whatever. But I also knew that it would bug me, and I would probably feel that difference a little bit. Maybe not, but I thought, it's just easier to rip it out now when there's hardly anything here and do it right. So that's what I did. I frogged it and cast on 60 stitches and did 2x1 rib. And now I'm in the stockinette section. But the reason I was looking inside this to see the other side to make sure there were actually 2 stitches on the ribbing inside, which there's not, obviously, there's only 1, is because when you're purling, and you have color switches, you know how you get those little lines in that first row of purl where the two colors come together? I wanted to avoid that, and so to avoid that, what I generally do is, as I get to that color change part, I knit one round and then go back to the purling, because you never, I mean, okay, if I hold this up, I don't know, maybe you can see it. I'm trying to get it to focus. But where this comes together, that isn't a purl stitch there. That is a knit stitch. Again, it's not going to focus well. Trust me, it's a knit stitch, but when I'm wearing it, you're never ever going to see that, because when you go back to purling, it just kind of keeps things pulled in. So it's just a nice way to avoid having those little blips of color that you get from the purl stitches on the right side of your work. The only thing you do see, though, is you see it on the inside, so you can see the difference. So you see the little green blips, right? Well, that's what I was looking for in here, because I wondered if I had done that here, because going from the pink to the orange is a much less obvious color change. They blend together so much better. And looking at it, I realized I don't think I did that. It's hard to tell. Like, if I compare the two, yeah, I didn't do that on this sock. Like, you don't see them. You would have seen them on the orange there. You would see pink lines, and you don't. But when I looked for that, that's when I realized, oh, it was only 2x1 rib, not 2x2 rib. So, whatever. It's all good now, so I'm on my second sock. This is my bounce base, and again, it's just going to be a plain vanilla sock, which is my norm. US 1s, pool noodles. Again, I don't think I said this. I almost always do just plain vanilla socks or plain ribbed socks. And boy, my shirt's all misadjusted now. I'm a plain sock kind of girl. That's what I like. But lately, I've really been wanting to knit pattern socks, which is so strange for me. I really want to knit the Humblebee socks that Sarah Bauer from Yarns at Yinhu just published recently. There's the Clark socks knit along, the Clark socks being a Jacqueline Salem pattern. She does the Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast. There's another one. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there's another sock pattern I want to do. And it's just so weird, because I don't do patterned socks. I don't know why, I just don't tend to. And I definitely don't do lacy socks. I don't like lacy socks. So we'll see, but I feel like I already have so many socks on the needles that I don't want to cast any more on until I at least get one more pair off the needles. And what's also kind of funny is the fact that in a fit of angst or something, or frustration at not being able to find needles one day, I went online and I ordered 5 pairs of Hayas. 3 US 1s and 2 US 0s. Not sharps, the regular steel needles. 32-inch circulars. I have 5 sets of them sitting, waiting for socks to be cast on. Do you know how dangerous that is to have 5 empty pair of sock needles sitting there waiting? Plus, I think I have 1 more pair that I found at my house when I was cleaning out. So I've got like 6 potential pairs of socks just waiting to go on needles. That's bad. I'm trying to restrain myself. But you can never have too many sock needles, and I like to have them around. So now I've got a plethora or so. All right, that's a whip. I did cast on, did I mention this already when I was showing you the hat? I cast on a second hat when I realized that the one that I was working on, being a singles yarn, I don't know if I even finished that thought, it was going to be splitty, and I didn't want to work on that at the theater, so I didn't take that. So I cast on a second hat out of like a worsted spun applied yarn. It was actually my bona fide base, a DK weight, that I had leftovers of, so I was just going to do a leftovers hat. And I didn't bring it in, I'm sorry, I'll show it to you eventually, but I did the thing where you just do like 1 row of one color on the edge of the ribbing and then go into the main color of the hat. I did that, and I really liked how it looked. And then once I got up to the stockinette of the hat, I'm like, you know, this would look really cool with some color work in it. And then I'm like, Lisa, you idiot. You can't knit color work in a movie either. And so I was going to just continue on with the main color. And I thought, no, I really would like to put some color work in this hat. So I didn't take that to the movie either, which is how I ended up taking the sock and screwing it up. So anyway, there's another hat on the needles. It's just not here. I've had some cast-on-itis going on. Remember last week I'm like, I feel like I don't know what I want to knit. I want to knit something, but I don't know what I want to be knitting. And it's like this knitting ennui going on or something. Well, that was remedied by the fact that I decided to cast on things. And the one is something that I've been thinking about casting on forever. And it's a Hansel hat by Gudrun Johnston. Let me see if I can find the pattern here. So a hat, as you may know, is, I think, Scottish in heritage. Gudrun Johnston publishes her patterns under the Shetland Trader. And so it's the one where you've got the big square, like a diamond of garter stitch in the middle, and then there's all this feather and fan around the outside. Which, feather and fan is my nemesis, so don't ask me why I wanted to do this, but I do. I just want to. But I've had a vision of doing an all natural colored wool hand spun hat for a long time. So I purchased this pattern quite a while ago. She has a full version as well as a half version, so you can just do a triangular hat. But no matter which one you buy, you get both versions. So that's kind of interesting. But anyways, I had purchased the half hat pattern, but it came with the full hat as well, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do the full version. It calls for fingering weight yarn. I am not using fingering weight yarn. I'm using whatever this is. So this is the yarn I'm starting out with for my center diamond. This is some Shetland Romney that I spun a few years ago. You might remember I had a year where I was really into spinning naturally colored fibers, which I still enjoy doing, but I did a lot of it that year. And this still smells quite sheepy. This is fiber, actually, that I purchased at the very first Waynesburg Sheep Fiber Festival I ever went to, like probably back in, I want to say 2012 maybe. I bought like a garbage bag full of this, and I finally ended up spinning it up, like I said, a few years ago. It's a 2-ply. I would say it's probably more of a sport weight, but I got over 800 yards of it. Now, I do not think that that center triangle is going to take 800, or center square is going to take 800 yards, but I may end up using some of this like on the outside of it as well. I don't know. I'm just going to kind of wing it, but I have a lot of naturally colored hand spun that I've been sort of, I was going to say hoarding, not really hoarding, but saving specifically for this project. So it's finally getting used, and I love knitting with my hand spun. This is not the softest yarn in the world. The fiber is definitely, it was farm wool. It's not like a highly processed wool, but it's spun up very nicely, and it doesn't feel like super itchy. Like I'll definitely be able to, it's a shawl anyway, you're going to have clothes on presumably. But like even around my neck, it's not bothersome. I don't mind that prickle factor. So anyway, this is as far as I've gotten. And I love how she does her edging, because you do like this yarn over thing at the edge of each side as you knit back and forth, which apparently is helpful for you in picking up the stitches to do the feather and fan later on. So that's a really cool element. I'm just enjoying it, you know. I'm just gonna knit it, and it's gonna be as large as it's gonna be. I don't care. I definitely don't want it to be any smaller than what the pattern's written for. I think 54 inches is the square size. Hopefully mine will end up being a little bigger than that. But yeah, it's a project I've wanted to do for quite a while, and I'm finally launching on it. I fully expect it to be a long-term project, though. That's not something I'm thinking I'm going to whip out in a few weeks. So that was the one thing I cast on. The other thing I cast on is a sweater. I I know I have sweaters languishing, but no, I wanted to do something more summery. And so I swatched, actually. I know. Like, oh, let me see. Where are the swatches? Here they are. I swatched 2 different yarns this weekend. This is the first one. Let's see. It goes this way. Yeah. So this is some Elspeth Levold Silky Wool, which I've knit with before. I really like this wool. It's very light. Like, there's nothing to this. It's so light, but it's also very nice and drapey. The cardigan that I wanted to do is the Campfire Cardi by Alicia Plummer. And so that's what I was really swatching for. I have a couple of other sweaters that I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do this one instead or this one instead. But in the end, I decided the Campfire Cardi was what I wanted to do. And I decided to use this lovely magenta-y kind of color. I have a navy, not a navy really, it's more of a denim-y blue kind of color. And if you look at it, it looks very tweedy. It's like, the makeup of this yarn is wool, silk, and nylon. So, and wool, there's like 40% wool or something, and then the silk, and then the nylon. And that, the silk and the nylon obviously are what are giving it its tweediness. I don't know. But it's a really pretty yarn. So anyway, I swatched this. And then I also swatched this, which is Elspeth Levold Hempathy. Ooh, wow, that's coming out super bright orange there. I mean, it is a bright orange, but it's more of a burnt orange than what it's showing up on my screen at the moment. So I swatched this, not necessarily for the Campfire Cardi, but for one of the other sweaters that I was considering. And I just figured I was in the mood to swatch, which never happens. And I did full-on, legit, no shit swatches. No fooling around here. The full swatch, I soaked them. I did not pin them out to block them. I hung them because for a cardigan, you know, you're going to be wearing it, so it's that vertical gravitational pull that you want to worry about. So I kind of hung them up this way to dry. And these dots indicate where I changed needle sizes. I started out on a US 5 down here, and then I went to a US 4, so I put 4 eyelets in here, so that tells me the rest of this is the US 4. And I did that same thing on here, although here I started with, I believe, I started with a 7. I was using my Lika interchangeables. I didn't have the 6s. I don't know where my 6 needles are, because I didn't think I had that many projects going in this, but apparently I do. I have to find the 6s. I don't know. Anyway, so I started with 7s, and then I went up to 5s. And the weird thing in both of these swatches, this is why I hate swatching. In the Hempathy, on 5s, I was getting 21 stitches per inch. It doesn't matter to you which side's up. 21 stitches per over 4 inches, not per inch. In the 4s, I was getting 20 stitches over 4 inches. Not a huge difference. I mean, I guess that's not unrealistic, that it's only a 1 stitch difference, but I felt like I should have gotten more of a difference, but I didn't. The silky wool, on the 7s, I was getting 19 stitches over 4 inches. On the 5s, no shit. I'm sorry, I keep swearing. I don't usually swear on the podcast. I got between 18 and 19 stitches over 4 inches. I was getting either the same gauge or fewer stitches using 2 sizes smaller needle. This is why I hate swatching, because that is a meaningless thing to me. Like, that just means nothing. Now, I will say, though, okay, which way do I want to go this way. I will say, if I do this, like if I stretch this fabric sideways, the 7s part is definitely looser. There's much more give in the fabric than the 5s. The 5s definitely feels tighter. That's a completely subjective metric, but it's legitimate, I believe. So, yeah. In the end, I decided to cast on with the Elspeth Levold for the campsite cardigan. So here's the pattern. Let me see if I can find the picture. Can you see the picture? It's a design that's got a whole lot of eyelets that kind of shower down the back of the sweater. You can see it better, obviously, on Ravelry. So I did everything right there. Like, I swatched, I read a whole bunch of comments on Ravelry about things people changed or had issues with, how they fixed them. So, like, you'd think I'd really be set to do this sweater and have no issues, right? We'll see how that works out. I have cast it on. I'm not super far into it, though. I did decide to go down a needle size from what it called for. So I started out on 7s, and it's a top-down raglan shaping. So here it is, and it's tangled around itself at the moment. But yeah, so here you go. I'm modeling it for you. I mean, I think it'll be okay right now. It seems fine. I don't know. I'm not 100% sold that I'm going to love this sweater out of this yarn. I will say that. I think I would love this sweater out of an actual legit wool rather than a wool silk nylon blend. But my goal was to have a nice lighter weight sweater to wear for summer. So this will be fine. Plus, it, you know, it uses up a sweater lot that's in my stash. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm not that far into it, but I guess I should maybe stick my swatch in the bag with it. My fat squirrel bag that I got at Needles Up. So that's what's going on with the sweater. What I am going to do probably, though, with the Ellsworth Leveled Silky Wool, which here it is in the ball. What the ball's still, like, I don't know. It's coming up much more reddish orange than it really is. I do want to make something out of this, too, because I have a sweater lot of this as well. I think what I will make, I'm leaning towards the Tegna, which is weird because I've been thinking, I've seen all these people making Tegnas or heard, and for whatever reason, I was thinking the Tegna was a totally different top than what it actually is. I think I was confusing it with the Duchesne pullover that Sarah Pomegranate made a while back. And I think maybe it's because I think she's making the Tegna, or she's going to, and she was comparing it sort of to the Duchesne. I think that's where my confusion came from. And the Duchesne is not a sweater that appeals to me personally. It's very pretty, but it's not quite my style. But the Tegna is another one that's a cropped sweater, and I don't do cropped sweaters. It's, you know, a shorter body sweater, but I've seen several pictures of it now where people have made the body of it longer, and it looks really pretty, and it's got this lace detail at the bottom, and the rest of it's just very plain. I think that's what I'm going to do with this. Now, the only problem is Tegna is written for fingering weight, and technically Hempathy is a DK weight. Hempathy, by the way, in case you don't know, is 34% hemp, 41% cotton, and 25% modal. I don't remember what modal is, sorry. However, I have used this before. This is actually what I knit my wedding skirt out of a couple of years ago, if you remember that project. It's sort of heavy once you get a lot of it in a project. But it's not uncomfortable to work with. Like, the hemp is not rough, and then once it's soaked, it's even softer. And it's got such lovely drape. So I do think maybe that will become a Tegna at some point. We'll see. I haven't cast it on, obviously. I don't think I've even purchased the pattern yet. But that's what I'm thinking. So that is the knitting that I have been working on. And I've been spinning. But I have not been spinning on my wheel. I've actually been drop spindling. I know. That's crazy too, because if you watch the podcast for very long, I'm not really a big drop spindler. I have a lot of drop spindles, and I love them because they're very pretty. And I actually enjoy the process of spinning singles on a drop spindle. I always get confounded when it comes time to ply, though. Although I've been having a really good conversation in one of the threads in our Ravelry group. It might just be the conversation thread, I don't know, with Moose Loon, who does all her spinning on spindles, and she's been, oops, I just broke my single there. She has been telling me how she plies, and that actually has been making a lot of sense. So if you're interested in that, go check out that thread. I think it's the Keep the Conversation Going thread. I'm pretty sure that's the thread. I'll try to remember to link that in the notes too. So anyway, I don't know what got me going on wanting to suddenly do some drop spindling last week, but I went in the yarn room and looked at my fiber, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to spin this. This is well, it was 1 ounce. It's a little less now. This is a 1 ounce little baggie of Kiviot. Kiviot, in case you don't know, is the downy underfur of the muskox, which is crazy expensive. I won't tell you what I spent on this. I bought this at Rhinebeck one year, a long time ago, because it was one of the Rhinebecks that my ex-husband went to with me. And I bought this little 1 ounce thing of this, and I told him what it cost, and I think he didn't say anything, but he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. Like, you go try to pluck some fiber off of muskox. Tell me if it's not worth that. No. They harvest... They pick it up off of rocks that when they shed, it comes off on. But I think they also do actually remove it from the muskox other ways. But it's not shorn. It's kind of lifted off, from what I understand. At any rate, it is just like spinning a cloud. It is the fluffiest. It is. It's down. It's like dryer lint. Fluff. Okay? Now, I have up to this point not been a huge fan of downy fibers. I have some camel fiber, which is also a down type fiber, that I started spinning years and years and years and years ago. Like, I got that at one of the very first fiber festivals I ever went to. And I started spinning it on my wheel, my Traveler, and it was just taking forever. Because the thing about downy fibers is they have no staple length. They're just fluff, okay? They're tiny, tiny staple length. So I started spinning that, but it was just taking forever because it was spinning up super fine, and I got bored with it. Plus, it was camel colored. And back at that time, I really didn't appreciate the natural colored fibers as much as I do now. And so I set it aside. The bobbin is still with the bag of camel. I haven't touched it in years. However, I started spinning this Kiviot on my only Bosworth spindle that I own. It's a Bosworth MIDI. I also got this at Rhinebeck one year. This is beautiful, and I am enjoying this spin so much. I don't know if I can get it to focus. Not so much. It wants to focus on me and the background and everything else. Sorry. But anyway, it's spinning up quite fine. And it's just a joy to spin. I have been enjoying this on this spindle so much. And I have to say, you know, I've been hoarding this fiber because I thought it's really expensive fiber. It's really nice. I don't want to mess it up. You know, and since I hadn't been enjoying the camel on the wheel, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I really want to start spinning this. Then I thought, why? Why am I saving this? Like, what good is that doing to save this fiber? So I just bit the bullet and I started spinning it, and oh my gosh, it's amazing. I'm actually thinking maybe that's what I'm supposed to spin on drop spindles. Maybe that's my spindling happy place with spindles, is downy fibers. Who knows? But, yeah, so I've got a lot on here. I don't actually know how much it is because I didn't think to weigh it, the baggie, before. I know it's an ounce, but I like to keep track of that kind of stuff in grams, and I don't really know how much I've used, but whatever. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to just keep spindling and eventually ply it and get whatever I get from it, and I hope I don't mess it up in the plying, because that's usually where I screw things up when it comes to spindle spun yarn. But again, like I said, I've been given some good ideas about how to handle that, so we'll see. Maybe that'll work better for me. Anyway, that's my spinning, and I'm super happy with it, and it's just been such a nice, relaxing thing to spin. I do have some other fiber. It's a farm yarn. I think I talked about that a while back on a spindle that I just kind of grab every once in a while. It's one of those garbage bag fulls of fiber that I bought at Waynesburg that one year. It's ancient, but yeah, I'm spinning that too occasionally. So anyway, that's my spinning. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? We have the knit along, which there's only one going on right now, and that is the everybody else's knit along, knit along. And when I say knit along, it's any kind of along. Knit along, crochet along, spin along, weave along, sew along, whatever. As long as it's from somebody else's group, whether they're a podcast or not a podcast, that doesn't matter. As long as they have a group on Ravelry where all of the rules for their along are. And you can find our guidelines for the everybody else's knit along in our group. There's not many rules. It just has to be somebody else's knit along that is coinciding with either May or June or both months. It has to overlap. It could have started prior. It could go beyond, as long as it's actively happening during our 2 months of the knit along. So please continue to work in there, because I'm enjoying seeing what you're working on. And I mean, there's lots of knit alongs going on that I would like to be a part of, and I have things on the needles that probably fit into a lot of them. I do not tend to officially be a part of knit alongs. Like, I don't submit things very often to finished object threads or anything, but in my mind or in spirit, I knit along with people. So you're welcome to do that too, whether you're actually submitting it to somebody else's knit along or not. I don't care, as long as you're following their guidelines. Hopefully that makes sense. New things, I have nothing this week, actually, which is sort of surprising. I keep feeling like maybe I have things I have ordered, they're just not here yet. So you'll see them in a future week. So that brings us to 10%, which I've got a bunch of things in 10%. Let's see. First of all, Mother's Day was last Sunday. So if you celebrated Mother's Day, either as a mother or with your mother, I hope you had a good time. I always feel a little tenuous about mentioning Mother's Day, because I know it's sort of not a happy thing for everyone for various reasons. And if it was a hard day for you, I'm really sorry. And I hope you got through it and found some way to be happy that day, and maybe just totally ignored the fact that it was Mother's Day. And if that's what you needed to do, then good for you. I hope that was okay. Yeah, that's all I'll say. Actually, it was kind of a nice day for me, except we spent the day, what did we do? We had something going on Saturday. What was going on Saturday? I'm sorry, I had to pause the camera and go look at my calendar, because I'm like, I knew something was going on Saturday, and I just couldn't think of it. Because there was a reason that we were not at my house working, which is what we needed to do last weekend. And there wasn't actually anything going on Saturday. It was the fact that we had to work around the weather, because the last thing we needed to bring here from my house was my couch. That was one of the last big things, that and my tractor. The tractor didn't matter so much with the wet rain, but the couch could not be hauled in the rain. And as it turned out, Saturday was supposed to be kind of rainy, and so we ended up hauling the couch home Friday evening. That's what we did. So Saturday we were actually here, and I got to work, which was wonderful. I was like, was I somewhere on Saturday? I didn't vend last Saturday. It's like, oh my gosh, my poor brain. Anyway, and I'm sorry I keep touching my nose, but like fiber is in it or something. I don't know. And now the camera is probably completely set up differently because I had to move my phone. So I'm sorry if I'm discombobulated, but that should be a given anymore. So yeah, Saturday we worked here. Sunday we went to my house and we loaded up the tractor, which my tractor's having some issues, and my husband hates my tractor, and I love my tractor, and I don't want to sell her, even though I keep saying, okay, maybe I'll sell her, but I don't want to sell my tractor. I want him to fix my tractor so that it runs. So anyway, we brought the tractor home and we finished packing up almost everything except for the bathroom and the kitchen stuff, which there's not a lot left in either of those rooms. There wasn't at that point, but like we couldn't fit anything else in the car anyway. So, and then we went out to dinner with my son. He took us out to dinner for Mother's Day. He also bought me a case of Corona and a hanging plant. And my other son sent me, he and his girlfriend and their kids, or her kids, sent me a beautiful arrangement of flowers, which is sitting right here, and I would show you, except they're starting to wilt. Maybe if I remember, I will try to put a picture in it, because it's absolutely stunning. It was just kind of funny because they ordered them to be delivered on Mother's Day, and they didn't think about the fact that A, we might not be here, and B, we have a gated driveway, which makes it a little complicated for that kind of a delivery. And so after some phone calls, it was just decided that the florist would take it back to the shop and I would pick them up on Monday, which is what I did. But they're stunning. They're just gorgeous. I felt so loved. And my daughter also sent me a text and said Happy Mother's Day. And she's funny because she usually does send me something, but she was like, yeah, money issues this year. I'm like, it's cool, no problem. So anyway, that was my Mother's Day celebrating. It was funny because my husband did not really do anything at all for Mother's Day for me. And he didn't even wish me Happy Mother's Day till partway through the day when I'm like, you know, you could say Happy Mother's Day. It's weird because we do not have children together, and he doesn't have any children of his own. And so I guess, and his mother is no longer alive, and he didn't have a great relationship with her anyway. And so I guess maybe Mother's Day has never really been something that's been on his radar at all anyhow. So it's a weird holiday. Not that it's a huge holiday for us anyway, but whatever. So that was our Mother's Day. But now everything is out of my house because I had to go back on Tuesday to have the electrical inspector come. We had the box replaced. We had to get the electrical panel, the breaker box replaced. And we were not required to have it inspected. But the person buying the house needed to have it inspected, which basically that should make it her responsibility to get that done. But there was a whole lot of other chaos and drama around this, which I won't go into. And it ended up just being easier for me to get it inspected because that way I could schedule the inspection and make it convenient. And I ended up being able to schedule that for the same day, just a couple hours apart from when the appraiser was going to come back and check to make sure everything that needed to be done was done. And so the electrical inspector came, and then an hour and a half later, the appraiser came, and it worked out perfectly. And I had time in between to pack up the rest of the bathroom stuff and clean the bathroom and pack up the rest of the kitchen stuff, which was basically just food in the fridge because the kitchen's brand new. We just did it, so we never put very much of anything back in there. And we had already taken the small appliances out, and the big appliances are staying there. So yeah, I packed everything else up and I cleaned. And so then I'm trying to pack all of this stuff into my car, which I had taken a cooler with me to put the cold food in. But there was a bunch of other stuff. You just didn't realize how much stuff there was left to put in the car. My car could not have fit anything else. Matter of fact, the last thing I put in the car, I kind of put it in the one back door and slammed the door really fast so it wouldn't fall back out. So yeah, my house is empty. Like, it's weird. Anyway, our closing is tentatively scheduled for next Friday, like a week from tomorrow. I will be back at the house at least once or twice between now and then because I'm feeling weird about having it be sitting there empty. Not because of any sign of security issue, but because I feel like it might be lonely. And I realize it's ridiculous that I'm anthropomorphizing my house, but like I am assigning my feelings for the house to the house. It's gonna be lonely there all by itself with nothing in it and doesn't know why. It's like, does it think it did something wrong? I don't know. So I will probably stop back a couple of times. I'm going to be a bawling basket case at the closing. I just have the feeling because I can't be at the house without crying, frankly, at this point. And it's goofy. I posted this to Instagram the other day, about the fact that I'm so sad about losing my house, and I'm not losing it, but selling it. And it is a loss, 25 years. And I'm going to start to cry if I talk about this too much, so I don't want to. But, but people did point out it's okay and it's normal, even though you're very happy where you're at, which I am. I love where I live. I love being up here at the mountain house with my husband. It's a perfect spot for me, but that does not take away that feeling of loss. You're able to be happy and sad at the same time. And that is the case. I never want people to think that I'm not grateful and thankful for what I have now, because I am. I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful for where I am. But I'm going to miss my home. Pretty simple. So anyway, yeah, that's moving along. It's nearing its end. So that's set for next Friday, which we will pretty much immediately leave the closing and head to West Virginia for the motorcycle training weekend, which I'm feeling much better about because I have been out on my motorcycle a couple of times and I'm feeling more confident. This happens every spring. I just need that time to get back on the bike and everything. So that will be next weekend. This house, I'm just not even caring how much of a hot mess it is right now because I don't have time to deal with it. Once we get through my show June, that first weekend in June, I figure after that, then I can start focusing on the house because I don't have another show till mid-July. Life will be much calmer. It will be good. So I will take care of things then. For right now, I just am blocking it out as much as possible. Actually, I wanted to talk about, this isn't a new thing per se, I got it back in January, but speaking of motorcycles, and I know I have some viewers who are also women who ride motorcycles, and I just wanted to show you this because one of my issues about riding is, you know, I wear full gear, you know, padded jacket and pants and all that stuff, but I never really have anywhere to put my stuff. Like my husband can stick his wallet and his gate opener and things. He has pouches and pockets all over his motorcycle gear. My jacket has pockets, but they're not that big. Plus, I've got boobs, so the chest pockets, it's hard to put very much in them and have it be comfortable. And so, you know, I've got a box and side boxes on my motorcycle, and the scooter has a huge top box in the back, plus it's got under the seat storage, but that's not really convenient places to put small things, and so I usually end up taking a purse, or I have a Ziploc bag that I put like all of my essentials in, and I'll put that in the bike. But it's nice to be able to have stuff on your person. So when we were at the Motorcycle Expo back in January in Cleveland, there was a vendor there selling these bags. It's called U-Koala is the company. U-K-O-A-L-A, U-Koala bags. And it's a bag that's almost, it looks like a fanny pack, but it's got a thigh strap. And so I started, I've used this a couple of times now, and it is perfect for riding because I can wear it around my waist and then strap it to my thigh. And so everything, this bag is just like right on the top of my right thigh. And it's unobtrusive as I'm riding. It doesn't get in the way. But it's perfect because this little zippery pocket here, I can put my gate opener in so I don't have to fuss around with my pocket on the side, which can kind of be weird to open sometimes. It's right here. And then there's a zipper section here, which is actually quite deep. Oh, and there's a pen in it. It's quite deep, and I actually think they make, like Kydex holsters, like, so if you do concealed carry, you can put it in there. I do not have one of those because I don't feel the need to conceal carry whenever I'm on my motorcycle. But anyway, also the flap lifts open, and then there's 1, 2, 3 more pouches, and so this one is where I stuck my Ziploc baggie full of all my stuff. I always like bring a $5 bill, and I usually have my debit card and my driver's license, obviously, and yes, my sanitary napkin. I'm showing you that on the podcast because I'm classy. And just, you know, whatever other things, like some aspirin or Tylenol or whatever. So that's in there, and then the top pouch is actually where I have my driver's license and everything. And then the bottom one is where I usually stick my cell phone. So it is the perfect little bag for being on a motorcycle. It will also be perfect to wear walking around festivals. That was the other reason I wanted it. So that's what my hubby bought me, and he called it my Valentine's Day gift, which was fine because it's such a functional item, and I'm loving it. It's perfect. I have tried several different small like crossbody bags and things that I can wear under my jacket, and none of them are convenient. This is the most convenient bag I've found for carrying my small stuff that I need with me when I'm riding. So, loving it. Loving it. I have not forgotten about my giant D-stash that I'm going to do, and I am still going to do it. But again, it may actually not happen until after that show in the first weekend in June. I just don't have the time to focus on it right now. So stay tuned. It will happen. And if you're looking for, discounted sweater lots of yarn, that's probably where you'll find them. And books, I'm still listening to Return of the King and really enjoying that. I also downloaded the book Shrill by Lindy West. That was a recommendation that Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel podcast, she talked about on her last episode. And I looked it up on Audible and thought it sounded pretty interesting, and I got it, and I'm really enjoying it. I did not know who Lindy West was. She's apparently a writer and kind of a comedian. I guess she's a comedian. I don't know, she's funny. I don't know if she's actually a comedian or not. But anyway, she talks mostly about topics that focus around being a woman of size. And she doesn't really pussyfoot around it. She's talks about being fat, and she is a larger woman, and it's very interesting, and I've enjoyed her perspectives, and she is funny. So I'm really enjoying the book, and I'm trying to pace myself because it's not super long. It's maybe a little over 6 hours, I think. So I'm trying to slow down on how much I listen to it so I can enjoy it more. It's funny. Some people talk about listening to their audiobooks on double speed or whatever. It's I don't want to. I want my books to last. So anyway, I think that's everything for 10%. Let's go to shop news real briefly. There are still some things left in the shop from my update that I did last Friday, including pre-orders. I had pre-orders up for the Mountain House Spring colorway, which, again, if you don't remember what it looked like, this is what it looks like. It's 6 stripes, the Mountain House colors for spring, which is the last of my Mountain House series. I have all 4 seasons covered now. So I've still got the pre-orders for that up, and I'll leave those up a while longer. Also, the Summer Shenanigans mini club that I said I'm doing, there are still several spots left for that. I wanted to clarify something. The listings in the shop are for the full 3 months, which they'll ship June, July, and August. Okay, so it's 3 months back to back, which is not how I usually do my clubs, but that's how I'm doing this one. So they're 3 months back to back, and the listing is for all 3 months, and you're getting the 10% discount that you always get whenever you pay for the full club up front. I'm not doing the individual months option as something that you can sign up for, but I mentioned I'm going to be putting a limited number of the sets in the shop each month that they ship, and you can buy them singly that way. However, what I wanted to clarify is you're not going to be able to see what they are. I'm not going to be showing the colors even when I list them singly. They're still going to be a mystery until you get them, just because I don't want to spoil it for the people who have paid for the full club. So I hope you understand that. But you will be able to buy the single shipments if you want. But again, I'm only going to put probably a few of each Bounce and Bedazzled up each month. It's not going to be a large quantity. So if you really want to be assured of getting them, I would suggest doing the full club listing that's in there. And again, I'm going to leave that up probably maybe through the first week of June, I'll say. So you have a little bit of time if you want to join that. There's still plenty of spots for that. It's looking like it's going to be a small club, and that's fine. I don't mind I'll do a club for one person if that's all you get. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. And you can find all the information about that in the listing. And other than that, the conversion rewards program is still going on all through this year. I've been shipping out rewards. Oh, there's a cat, and that's not even our cat. That's the neighbor's cat. I've been shipping out reward skeins, and that's rewarding for me. I love doing that. So thank you to everybody who's participating, and please remember to just post your things in there. All right, I think that is everything that I have for you this week. I know that's probably going to add up to be a long podcast because I had to do it in segments, and I have no idea how long it all adds up to, but anyway, thank you for watching. I do not know that I will get to record next week, just because I do have a show late next week, so I will be reminding you about the Waynesburg show in social media areas. But I'll be back the following week with a podcast. So until then, have a lovely rest of your week and your weekend. And if you're going to be at Waynesburg, I'll look forward to seeing you. And if not, I will talk to you. Oh, wait. Am I hallucinating? I am hallucinating. I don't have a show next weekend. Oh, gosh. I have a show this weekend. I probably will record next weekend. It'll be the following week I may not record. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Whenever you see me again, you'll see me again. And hopefully I'll be a little calmer. Take care. Bye.